Good evening and welcome to The Strand. I'm Christina Foxley, the Director of Events, and I'm pleased to welcome art book publisher Gregory R. Miller and artist Marilyn Minter here tonight to talk about their collaboration on the expanded monograph featuring 40 years of Minter's work. This expanded edition of Gregory R. Miller's hugely successful first ever monograph on Marilyn Minter from 2007 brings her public up to speed with the inclusion of works created over the past 3 years, including images from Minter's 2009 video, Green Pink Caviar, shown in New York's Times Square, and featured in Madonna's recent Sticky and Sweet concert tour. Following their presentation and discussion, Marilyn and Greg will take your questions. I'll walk around with this microphone, so please wait for that before you speak. And then Marilyn will sign copies of her book for you, which you can purchase downstairs on your way out of the store. There are signed copies behind this pillar if you're interested in purchasing before. Please join me in welcoming Gregory R. Miller and Marilyn Minter to the Strand.
Well, thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate it. I didn't know whether it was going to be zero or a nice full group. So what I've done to try and amuse you is to take my regular lecture that I give as a visiting artist, and I tried to condense it into maybe 20 minutes, half an hour. So I'm going to go through this, and then if you have any questions, we're going to have a Q&A afterwards, and Greg's going to ask a couple of questions too. But think about, if you want to ask anything while we're going, just throw them out. That way you'll remember. Okay, so these are pictures I took of my mother, who was a drug addict, who basically never did anything, but after she started getting high, and she was in bed all the time, and she she was once a great beauty, so she was very concerned with how she looked. She exercised, but this is mostly how I saw her my whole life, is just in a nightgown, lying in bed or putting makeup on. When she went out for, if she went out at all, she had to crash for days afterwards. So this is her dyeing her eyebrows. And I like to show this. I took this work back with when I was a photography major at University of Florida, and I was 19 years old, so it was probably my first body of work, even though I didn't know it at the time. And I remember taking these photos to school to show my class and the proof sheets, and they went, "Oh my God, that's your mother?" And I had waves of shame come over me. So I felt like, I'm not going to show these again. And I didn't show them until back in 1995, and I'll explain why I started showing them again. But this was probably my first body of work, and in retrospect I realized that living with my mother, who was this dysfunctional beauty, probably has informed everything I do. And it's like, I'll just go back a little bit more. It wasn't like, she pulled out her hair, so she wore wigs, and it wasn't this swanning beauty, that people want to go to this place. It was more likely she wore these false acrylic nails, and she didn't take care of them, so there were funguses growing underneath. So it was somehow this kind of distortion. It wasn't a clean-cut kind of, people look at these pictures and think it's like a movie star or something, and it really wasn't. There was nobody on set fixing the makeup, if you know what I mean. So the next body of work I'm showing you is, I'm skipping ahead quite a bit to 1989 when I made this TV commercial that my idea was to make a product, which were these paintings, and it was in 1989. There was a lot of late night TV shows. The commercials it wasn't that expensive to rent time on these 30 seconds or a minute on these late night TV shows like David Letterman, Arsenio Hall, and Nightline. And I made these paintings to sort of make the commercial, to have a product to sell. So these are the paintings, and they were all hands taking food apart. And they're all about 20, I think they were 24 by 30 inches, and it's enamel paint on metal. And this is how I was working with enamel paint from this point on. And now just take a guess with somebody. Take a guess. How much do you think it cost to rent 30 seconds on David Letterman in 1989? By TV commercial.
2,000.
Oh, that's amazing, because most people say 10 million. I shouldn't have given you the hint of it. It was very cheap. It was $1,800. And so it was a way to, it was really a way to, nobody knew that. And it's, because you're only really buying 8 million homes. Really, you're buying the tri-state area. You don't buy it across the whole country. And so we took the same money that we would use to buy ads in art magazines. In that time, even back then in 1989, a full-page ad in Artforum was $5,000. So we had a budget, and we spent it all on Arsenio Hall, Nightline, and David Letterman. And I'm going to show you the TV commercial, which is in the book. Oops, I didn't mean to do
in which our effort in the Middle East collapses.
Let me ask you just to take a break for a second. We've got to take a quick break, and I'll come back and let you continue that thought when we continue our conversation with Henry Kissinger and James Webb in a moment.
What is this, like incense? You put incense or something in there? It's a microphone.
I just made it.
Oh, that's
short.
decent. But see, you knew that.
Yeah,
and I did.
Compilation.
You were in Philly saying, well, we got to take commercial. Take commercial, we'll come right back, and our mothers will be out here, and they'll fight for a while. We'll be right back.
Two of your favorites, M&M's and peanut butter, are together at last. Introducing M&M's peanut butter chocolate candies. Pure milk chocolate, real peanut butter, your favorite chocolate candy, now with creamy peanut butter. New M&M's peanut butter chocolate candies. The best thing to happen to peanut butter since jelly.
So this ran on late night television, so if you didn't know what it was, you wouldn't know what it was. And it was the first time anyone had made an ad for a commercial show. Chris Burden had made a TV commercial, but it was Michelangelo, I think it was Michelangelo, Da Vinci, Matisse, Picasso, Chris Burden, or something like that. It was a 10-second one, and but this was the first time it was an advertising. And I thought, so it was always in my mind to collapse these boundaries. I like the idea of mixing high culture and low culture. And so we got this long pause on this one image. Right at the very same time I was making these paintings that I call food porn. They were same material. And this was this was hardcore porn, and what triggered this was I saw this show at Metro Pictures of the Mike Kelly show. I don't know if you remember that, back in the late '80s, and it was